Let's head back to the voicemail of Truth and Reason.
Hey, the report is the Browns are looking for Aiyuk, which would be terrible because he's a cancer in the locker room. They done already told him that he's gone. He's all on TikTok, damaging the team. You don't need no guy like him on the team when you have a guy like Amari Cooper that's a locker room presence everyone loves. Hopefully, the Browns can straighten the situation out. Thanks, Dave.
As always, appreciate all of your voicemails. Quincy, I I hesitate to say somebody's a locker room king. The first you've heard of it, of anything negative about Aiyuk is when he wants a new contract. And I get it. I mean, he's looking at guys that produce like him that are getting 30, 35 million. I think he's on his tag to make 14.1 million. And I get to the average fan that's a boatload of money. It's about half or less than half of what his market value is. And he's got a finite number of years to make money.
Yeah, I wouldn't call Brandon Aiyuk a locker room cancer because, one, we never talk about the 49ers having locker room issues. They went back-to-back NFC Conference Championship games. So when was he a locker room cancer? It seems very convenient that people are like saying this now about him. And they said the same stuff about Deebo Samuel, and that locker room is fine, right? Like they didn't just devolve. So I don't buy into those kind of narratives about players. I usually find those to be garbage. But when it comes to Brandon Aiyuk, I do think there are some questions that we should ask about Brandon Aiyuk in the Cleveland Browns as far as like what this situation is, as far as his effectiveness on the field.
Yeah, that's fair. And you know what? Again, Amari Cooper has done nothing but come and play through injuries and produce here. So I get why, we've called him the Nick Chubb of the wide receiver class, and he just shuts up and produces. And there's something that's appealing about that because there aren't a lot of wide receivers that go out and do that.
Well, and also the bringing in Brandon Aiyuk argument isn't, hey, we're just going to trade for Brandon Aiyuk for like a draft pick and bring him in and add him to a core that already has Amari Cooper. We're talking about getting Brandon Aiyuk and trading Amari Cooper to make that happen. And that's where I start to ask some questions because, one, if the 49ers were willing to do that, that would mean in order for the Browns to win that trade, they would have to be smarter than the 49ers are about a player that they drafted and developed. And I don't think that's a good bet to make, right, when you're doing a trade. There's something that the 49ers see on the field with Brandon Aiyuk or with wide receivers in general that makes them think that he's not worth $30 million. He's worth $26 million. Well, that's about what Amari Cooper's worth. So, like, if you're trading draft compensation for a player who could end up being a very similar player to the one you already have just to get younger down the line, but more expensive, is that really a good trade to make? I know we want to get excited about like a big blockbuster name being added in there, but I don't know if Brandon Aiyuk is a big enough upgrade over Amari Cooper to make sense to not only trade for, but to sign to a $30+ million deal at wide receiver. And also, while I'm excited that wide receivers are getting this money, at some point we got to ask ourselves the question: what team has signed a wide receiver to $30 million to a $30 million contract, and it's made them a championship contender?
Yeah,
I can't name them.
No, I can't either.
The Chiefs traded their $35 million wide receiver and won two back-to-back. Yeah. At some point, we got to ask this question. Hey, man, is Tyreek Hill going to make somebody into Pat Mahomes? Because that's the dream of signing somebody at $35 million. And so far, the answer with Tua Tagovailoa is no. You cannot just turn your quarterback into Pat Mahomes if you have a high-quality wide receiver. Devontae Adams been out there in Las Vegas for how long? We haven't thought about them since they made that trade.